Hello, this video is going to be about the different kinds of minors, scales, or minor keys that we see. So if we're talking about the minors, that means we've already gone through some majors and are probably pretty familiar with that. So I have a circle of fifths written down and it should be pretty familiar. It has our majors color-coded in black on the outside and then the minors color-coded orange on the inside. Alright, so I want to make one quick clarification about some of the terminology I've been using before we get into the three different types of minors. So what I want to differentiate is, if you could see that on the top, key signature and then just the key. So they are different things, and the way I've been teaching it for right now may make it seem like there's just one. So I've been teaching a little incorrect, so that's my bad. So we're just going to kind of be a little bit more specific. I was referring to key signature, or we have been referring to key signature as looking at a piece and saying, okay, it has 0 sharp, 0 flats, and it starts on a C, so the key signature is C major. So that's about half right, I would say. So the key signature are the sharps, closer. The sharps or flats at the start of the song, or a song. And so let me use an example. So here we have Paco Belcannon, and we notice right here between the treble clef and the time signature is our key signature, which is 0 sharps, 0 flats. So that is the key signature. 0 sharps, 0 flats. The key, on the other hand, is now where we go and name it. So if we're talking about Paco Belcannon, we know that since it's 0 sharp, 0 flats, it's either C major or A minor. We take a look at the first note, which is a C, and of course that gives us the answer of C major. So C major is the key. 0 sharps and 0 flats are the key signature. Alright, so bear with me as we kind of relearn this difference in the terminology. My apologies for that. Some of the things I kind of try and keep more basic and understandable, but sometimes it kind of does a little bit more harm than good. But we'll relearn this correctly. Okay, so now to the minors, now that we have that clarification. So it's a little glary. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're wanting to learn about the 3 different kinds of minors. So on the inside, you see that here's all the minors. And so when we're talking about the minors and key signatures, I want to make something very, very important clear. So this C major and the A minor, which includes all 3 kinds of A minors, the natural, the harmonic, and the melodic. All 3 of those and this C major will have the same key signature, which is 0 sharp, 0 flats. So there's 4 different scales or keys that will have the possibility of having each key signature. So 1 major for 1 sharp and the 3 minors for 1 sharp, and so forth for all of these. Okay, so now let's talk about those 3 different minors that are included. They are the harmonic, melodic, and natural minors. And so let's actually start on the bottom right here where we talk about the natural. So that's the first one that we should learn. I just wrote it a little bit out of order. Alright, so the natural is the first one we want to learn because it is the minor which follows the circle of fifth trend. And what that means is, if we take a look at this circle of fifths and we want to play natural minors, then it's going to follow this trend of 1 sharp, 2 sharp, 3 sharp. So for instance, if we want to play a natural minor, we'll play A to A with 0 sharp, 0 flats, and that will be the natural minor. If we wanted to play the E natural minor, we play E to E, and there would be 1 sharp. And right now we're just going to ignore what sharp there is, but there is a way to figure out what sharp that would be. If we wanted the B natural minor, we would play it B to B with 2 sharps and so on and so on. So the natural minor follows the trend of the circle of fifths. Once you're comfortable with that, then it's easy to understand what the other ones are. So the harmonic is going to be the natural minor, but played with the 7th note sharped. So if we're taking, for instance, the A, and I'll show us an example a little bit later on the video of how this looks on the keyboard. So if we're taking the example of A, harmonic minor, then we'd play A to A, and that 7th note in that scale, which is G, would be played sharp instead of regular, and that would make it a harmonic minor scale for the A. If we want to do a melodic, it's like the natural minor, but you sharp 2 notes, the 6th and the 7th note. And a quick note on that is that those notes are only sharped when you're going up. And when you're descending, it's going to go back to the natural version, or just the notes will be naturaled, and it will bring it back to the natural minor descending. And I'll show you that, like I said, on an example right here towards the end of the video, probably coming up here soon. All right, so that's the 3 different kinds of minors. And so remember, always start by learning the natural minor, because it reflects the trends of the circle of fifths. And then you could work on the harmonic and melodic, which aren't too hard. You just need to remember the special instructions of which notes to sharp. Okay, so that's pretty much it about talking. I want to just repeat one thing about the key signature, and then I'll go to the piano to give us an example of a set of 3 minors. So, again, the key signature is the amount of sharps or the amount of flats. So it doesn't actually get down to the naming of all these scales. So each of these key signatures will encompass the 1 major and all 3 types of the minors. And so I just want to stress that, because you may ask, after looking on those instructions, why we say they have the same key signature if we add sharps. So yes, the A harmonic minor will have that 7th note sharp, which it makes sense, but you may be thinking that it doesn't make sense because the key signature says 0 sharps, 0 flats. So it's not lying. That key signature, remember, is the sharps or flats at the start of a song. So the thing you see between the time signature and the treble clef or bass clef, so that is the key signature. And it does not refer to any accidentals in the song or any sharps next to notes within the song. So those are accidentals. Those are not considered part of the key signature. So that's why these harmonic and the melodic minors, yes, they will have some sharps that the natural won't, but it still will follow the key signature. Okay, all right, so let's go in and see a quick example of this on the keyboard. Okay, so we're going to be using A as an example since we've been talking about it a lot, and it's really easy because it has 0 sharp, 0 flats. So the natural minor will follow the circle of fifths. So the A natural minor will go from A to A with 0 sharps. So that's the natural minor. We can now change that to get the harmonic minor. And so the instructions for the harmonic minor is to take the natural minor and sharp the 7th note. So the 7th note in the A scale would be this G. So we're going to play it sharped going up instead of its white version. So here's the harmonic. One more time, G sharped. Alright, so that was the harmonic. Now lastly we have the melodic, which is going to sharp the 6th and the 7th note. So in the case of this A scale, it's going to be F sharp and G sharp going up. So remember the note, the special note for this is that it only sharps the notes going up, but then when I'm going back down, it's going to go back to it. It's going to natural the notes and make it back into the natural minor. So here we go. Here's the the melodic. All right, one more time, paying attention to the natural minor descending. Alright, so that would be a set of the three minors and hopefully a pretty thorough explanation. So the only thing that this is missing is what these different scales will look like in the actual sheet music. So like the scales written out on a grand staff. So I chose not to do that because my handwriting isn't the best. It can be good, but if I do make it good, it takes a whole lot of time. So writing multiple scales would just be a little too much for me. So what I'm gonna do is link some websites with images of different minor scales and sheet music, so you know how they look. So those links will be in the description of the YouTube video. All right, if you have any other questions about anything I asked today, feel free to bring it up to me during our lesson time. Thank you.